Imagine a toothache, not the mild kind that sends you to a pharmacy for some painkillers and an appointment next week. The kind that pulses with every heartbeat. The kind that keeps you awake for days. The kind that spreads into your jaw, your ear, down into your neck, until your whole face feels like it's on fire from the inside. Now imagine that pain with no dentist, no painkillers, no antibiotics, no emergency room 3 miles away. Just you, the pain, and whatever your ancestors had figured out about teeth over tens of thousands of years of trial and mostly error. Here's the thing people don't think about when they picture ancient life. It wasn't just predators and starvation that threatened you, it was your own mouth. A rotting tooth in the ancient world wasn't a minor inconvenience. It could genuinely kill you. Let's start with why teeth rotted at all, because the causes shifted dramatically across human history in ways that tell their own story. Hunter-gatherer populations, eating a varied diet of meat, wild plants, nuts, and fibrous vegetation, actually had comparatively good dental health by prehistoric standards. Their diet was low in the kind of sugars and starches that feed the specific bacteria responsible for cavities. Skeletal evidence from pre-agricultural populations consistently shows lower rates of tooth decay compared to what came next. And what came next was agriculture. The moment humans shifted toward grain-heavy diets, bread, porridge, and other starchy staples, dental health took a measurable nosedive. Skeletal remains from early farming communities show a sharp increase in cavities, abscesses, and tooth loss compared to their hunter-gatherer ancestors. The very technology that let civilization scale up, reliable stored grain, was quietly destroying people's teeth in the process. This is sometimes called part of the broader Neolithic health decline, and dental evidence is some of the clearest proof we have of it. So what actually happened once a tooth started to rot? First, understand what a rotting tooth actually does to the body. Untreated decay eats through the outer enamel, then the softer dentin underneath, and eventually reaches the pulp, the living nerve, and blood supply at the tooth's core. Once bacteria reach the pulp, an abscess can form, a pocket of infection that builds pressure inside the jawbone. That pressure is where the unbearable pain comes from. And without any way to drain or treat it, that infection doesn't stay contained. It can spread into the jawbone itself, into the surrounding soft tissue, and, in serious cases, into the bloodstream. Before antibiotics existed anywhere on Earth, a severe dental abscess was a genuine, documented cause of death. Not a rare freak occurrence. A real, recurring way people died. So ancient humans were not passive about this. They developed strategies, some surprisingly sophisticated, long before anyone understood what bacteria even were. The oldest direct evidence of dental intervention comes from a site in Italy, where researchers examined a 14,000-year-old tooth and found clear tool marks consistent with someone scraping out decayed material from inside a cavity using a sharpened stone implement. This predates agriculture entirely. It means Paleolithic humans were already performing what is functionally a primitive filling procedure, tens of thousands of years before anyone would recognize the word dentistry. Then there's a genuinely remarkable discovery from Slovenia, a 6,500-year-old jawbone containing a tooth with a cavity that had been filled using beeswax, likely packed into the exposed area to reduce pain from temperature and pressure, and possibly to slow further decay. Whether this was done shortly before or after death is debated among researchers, but either way, it shows people were thinking about tooth repair using available materials with real, if limited, effectiveness. Evidence from the Indus Valley Civilization, dating back roughly 9,000 years, shows something even more startling. Tiny, precisely drilled holes in molars, consistent with the use of a bow drill, the same basic tool technology used for starting fires, repurposed to bore into a decayed tooth and remove the rotten material. Researchers who studied these remains found the drilling was remarkably precise and consistent, suggesting this wasn't random experimentation. It was a practiced, repeated technique performed by someone with real skill. Now, here's where the story takes a turn most people don't expect. For an infection severe enough that no amount of scraping or drilling could help, ancient humans across multiple unrelated cultures arrived independently at the same brutal solution: extraction, pulling the tooth entirely. Archaeological and ethnographic evidence from across the world shows tooth extraction performed using nothing but hand tools and raw physical force, sometimes involving multiple people to hold the patient still. There was no anesthesia. There was no sterilization. The pain of the procedure itself had to be weighed against the pain and danger of leaving the infection alone. And often, the extraction won that trade, simply because a spreading infection was the more immediate threat to life. Some cultures developed remarkably specific herbal approaches to manage the pain and infection risk around this. Cloves, which contain eugenol, a compound with genuine natural analgesic and mild antibacterial properties, were used across multiple ancient cultures, including in traditional Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine, specifically for tooth pain. This wasn't superstition dressed up as medicine. Modern dentistry still uses eugenol-based compounds in some temporary dental treatments today. Ancient people had, through pure trial and observation, found something that actually worked pharmacologically, centuries before anyone understood why. Willow bark, which contains salicin, the same compound aspirin is chemically based on, was also used across ancient Egypt, Greece, and elsewhere specifically to manage the kind of throbbing pain associated with dental infection. Chewing on it, or preparing it as a poultice applied near the jaw, provided genuine, measurable pain relief through a mechanism people had no scientific name for, but had clearly and repeatedly observed worked. The ancient Egyptians documented dental treatments directly in medical papyri. The Ebers Papyrus, dating to around 1550 BC, describes treatments for tooth pain and gum disease using various plant and mineral preparations. Egyptian remains have also shown evidence of what researchers believe may be early attempts at dental bridge work, using wire to stabilize a loose or damaged tooth to its neighbors. Whether this was purely functional or partly cosmetic, meant to preserve appearance as well as function, is still debated. Either way, it shows a level of dental awareness that goes well beyond simple pain management. Here's the part that should genuinely surprise you. Some researchers believe ancient dental drilling and extraction, performed outdoors using clean stone tools, in open air, may have carried a lower infection risk in certain respects than dental procedures performed in crowded, unsanitary conditions much later in history, before germ theory led to modern sterilization practices. It's not that ancient dentistry was safe by any modern standard, it absolutely wasn't. But the specific combination of clean stone tools and open-air conditions may have been, in some narrow sense, less catastrophic than we'd assume. What all of this points to is something worth sitting with. Ancient humans weren't helplessly enduring dental pain and hoping it would pass. Across completely unrelated cultures and time periods, with no contact between them, people arrived independently at strikingly similar solutions. Scraping decay out with tools, drilling with fire-starting technology repurposed for teeth, extraction as a last resort when infection threatened to spread. Natural compounds for pain relief that modern chemistry has since confirmed actually work. That's not primitive guesswork. That's applied problem solving, repeated and refined across generations, built entirely through observation and consequence, without a single textbook, without any understanding of bacteria, and without anesthesia to make the process even remotely comfortable. And there's a sobering side to this too, worth being honest about. Not everyone survived a severe dental infection. Skeletal remains across multiple ancient populations show evidence of abscesses that were never treated. Jawbones with visible damage from infections that spread untreated until they killed the person carrying them. For every success story, drilled tooth, extracted molar, beeswax filling that held for 6,500 years, there were almost certainly people for whom none of it was enough, or came too late. So the next time you feel a small twinge in a tooth and reach for the phone to book a dentist appointment, or grab an over-the-counter painkiller without a second thought, consider what that same twinge would have meant to someone 14,000 years ago. No appointment, no prescription, just a sharpened stone, a bow drill repurposed from fire starting, a mouthful of clove or willow bark, and whoever in the group had learned, through years of trial and occasionally fatal error. How to help. The tools were nothing like what exists today, but the underlying instinct to identify a problem, experiment with a solution, and pass that knowledge down to the next person facing the same pain, that part hasn't changed in 14,000 years. It's just wearing better tools now,